Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. Great to be with you and share some thoughts at this particular point in time. And I hope you're doing well and enjoying and surviving this situation of lockdown that we find ourselves in. I wanted to share some thoughts with you this morning, hopefully to provoke your thinking a little bit. You may have noticed that at C3 Monash we've called our online services Church Around the Table. And one of the reasons for that is that we actually wanted to remind ourselves and keep in front of us the reality of the intimacy of the table. And we're not gathering publicly at the moment, and we're not being able to meet corporately. So the realization that the table is taking on some pretty big significance for us. And I think one of the central the Jewish people didn't see the temple as the central religious place. They actually saw the home as the central religious place. And the center of the home is the table where we gather and share meals and fellowship and all of that kind of thing. And so to gather around the table speaks to us of intimacy and connection and openness and frankness and conversation and all of that kind of thing. And it's a privilege to share tables with people and maybe at the moment it's just our immediate family that we're sharing the table with. And I just wonder if God might not be speaking to us about, he may be saying to us, he wants to bring us back to that place of central connection and the home as being the place of that intimacy. And I think that maybe around the table we can do some discipleship that maybe we've in the past defaulted or deferred to the church or the temple to do the discipleship that really should be happening around the table. And maybe as I speak to the men in this moment, just to actually take this opportunity to lead your family from the table that is the central place in your home and in your household. And you might be saying, well, I actually don't feel qualified or I'm not up to it. Well, you can. And you might think, well, there's things in my world and in my life that may disqualify me. But I want to encourage you, okay, maybe step up and realize that discipleship of your family is the starting point of your religious experience and your religious journey, for want of a better word. In terms of the religious element, it's like discipleship, loving and leading the ones that are closest to us, and it starts at home. And we can't delegate that responsibility out. So men, disciple your family, disciple your kids. You have the best thing to be able to offer them, and I want to encourage you in that. And I was reading out of Numbers chapter 24 and the prophet Balaam. And he had some interesting things to say, but he was a prophet who actually had an encounter with God, and he describes himself this way. He says that he makes this prophetic word, and he calls it the decree of a man with 20/20 vision. And so he makes this statement that he knows what's going on with God, the high God, and he bows in worship and sees what's real. And I think that this is a great call in this time, in this season, for you and I to see what's real, to live a life of principle-based discipleship that starts at the home. And maybe you're saying to yourself, well, my home life is hardly an example. Well, hey, what a great place to start to change and reinvent yourself and encourage yourself with all of that. And I was sort of thinking about this is the year 2020, and the Chinese year of the rat, if you're from that Chinese tradition. But I just wonder if it might be, maybe we could recall it the year of the introvert, because there's a lot happening that's for us introverts that is maybe different to what has been the experience of an extrovert kind of world in the past. And so the opportunity to gather around the table with our family and disciple them in the year of the introvert may be something that is encouraging to you. And I just I think that these are exciting days to be alive, the exciting days to be contemplating how we can be effective, how we can live in the words of Balaam, and see what's real. Because when we live a life of discipleship based on the principles of God, that will stand the test of time. You have an opportunity now, an unprecedented opportunity to invest into your kids, into your spouse, to those around you. And maybe if you're a single parent, you've got an opportunity to just really disciple your kids in a way that is unprecedented. So I want to encourage you and support you in that as best you can, and believing that God is doing exciting things in this day and age. So just as Balaam saw himself as a man with 20/20 vision, maybe you and I can see the eyes that God gives us a vision for the future, the vision for the discipleship of our kids, of our family, of our home around the table, and make the most of this season. So God bless you. Be encouraged in this season and disciple your hearts out, because it's worth it in the long run. God bless you. We'll see you next time.